Talia O, aka the Closet Ratchet. I'm sitting here with DAX. We're backstage at your very first headlining tour. How
Yes.
do you feel?
Man, first I gotta say, man, we've had a back and forth internet relationship for 3 years.
Yeah.
So this is super surreal to be, having this interview now. You're when you started, you were doing something different than what you are than what now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm doing something different than when I started talking to you too in terms of poetry and music. So it's super surreal and it's dope.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that answers the question, but shit.
No, it's okay. I was telling them earlier too. It's like, I was at Shade Room when we first met. You were doing your writing, and now we're, in a position of growth. We're doing other things, exploring our other gifts and talents.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, for my fans, my audience that isn't familiar with who you are, how did you get started with music? Because I know that before you started music, or right before you started really recording and getting serious about your craft, you were a janitor.
Yeah.
And you incorporate your story into all of your music. So tell us about that era of your life when you're transitioning into becoming a rapper.
So I was while I was an overnight janitor, I was also playing college basketball. I had transferred to Newman University for my last 2 years. I was at a D1 before University of Montana. Didn't work out. Spent my whole life trying to get to D1 and go to NBA. Didn't work out. Transferred D2. Got a job as an overnight janitor on campus at the same school I was playing at. And they put me in the section of the school in De Matthias Hall where it was like the art side of De Matthias. But it was also connected to where we also played our basketball games. So that's how I got started. Then on the way to a basketball game, we were playing Arkansas Fort Smith. I wrote a poem on the bus to the game. As soon as we got off the bus, I showed it to my roommate, Travis Matthews, who was still cool today, and Aaron Samuels, who lived connected to our room. It was like the bathroom was connected to us, and he was a room beside.
You said his name was Aaron Samuels?
Aaron Samuels and Travis Matthews.
That's the guy's name in Mean Girls. Sorry.
Is it really?
Yeah.
No, those are the two guys I showed my first poems to. And then Jarvis was the one who I showed it to next.
Wow.
But those two and third guy I showed my first poem to, they were like, yo, that's deep as shit. So I kept writing poems. That's how I got started.
Dope. And, you're a really, like you said, the poem was deep, but you really, I guess, trigger a lot of emotions with your fans and your music. I remember you talking about how you had a dream about Tupac, and he said, he wanted you to share his message to the world.
Yeah.
So what exactly did he say to you in your dreams?
Yeah. So I always tell people, I believe in the law of attraction. So the first thing I attracted myself to was basketball. So I remember I played basketball for 10 years of my life. It was a 10-year stint. And I had a dream with Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan told me three things inside that dream. He said, when someone cuts you off, change directions. When you miss, shoot again. And I forget, the last one was it was something like people in the stands don't match. But anyways, so I had a dream with that. And then the Tupac dream was yo, the poetry you're doing is dope, but more people will relate if you rap. Because I was doing the poetry and it was dope as shit, but not a lot of people could really relate to it. So that whole dream was just if you start making music with it, more people can relate to it and it'll spread further, because poetry is it's like a dying art. So that was that dream pretty much. So after that, I just made the conscious decision to really every single thing I had, I tried to make it into a song rather than a poem.
Smart. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. One of my faves, Kendrick Lamar, he preaches, talking real shit over a fire beat, unless nobody will listen.
I call it mainstream consciousness.
Yeah.
That's what I define myself as, mainstream consciousness. All of my songs, whether people recognize it or not, there's always a message in them, even if it sounds super catchy.
Mm-hmm. And you also, what we witnessed tonight, you literally stop your songs in the middle of a bar just to spit some real shit to your fans.
Yeah.
That's something that's really needed. We don't have a lot of a lot of artists pouring back into their fans. It's like not a lot of initiative taken there. But going back to the law of attraction, so I've had a really interesting, like personally, I've had a really interesting transitional year.
I bet, shit.
Huh?
Yes, I bet.
Yeah. Just trying to figure out what it is I'm trying to do, and I've been practicing the art of manifestation as well. So while you were, trying to figure out this music thing, what were some, what was like your mantra? What was something that you told yourself every day while you were attracting what the lifestyle that you have now?
I tell people all the time. It was one summer. I had finally played Division I basketball, and then it didn't work out, and I transferred to a D2. But the summer in between, I had to go live in my dad's house in Pennsylvania. He lives in Pennsylvania. I'm not gonna say the city, but he lives in Pennsylvania. He works out there, and he works from like 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. at night. I'm about to retire, thank God. But he works there. So that summer, the first summer I spent like meditating, reading books, and I created a mantra for myself. That was the first summer I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stop watching what other people are doing, and I'm gonna do something that makes people have to watch me. Because I left D when there was no more parties. I was like, I'm tired of like watching Snapchat, everybody party at the University of Montana. I'm gonna start doing something so these people have to watch me. So I started doing like hypnosis. It was like hypnosisdownloads.com. I started reading books. I read like the 50 Laws of Power. I read the Mike Tyson book. I read like 8 books that summer. I downloaded, it was hypnosisdownloads.com. I downloaded the hypnosis for success, for like domination, a couple of different things. And I was trying to convince myself that I was great. And it was just an everyday thing. I wrote down a mantra in my phone. It was like a paragraph long, like what my life was gonna be like, and I would read it twice a day. There's just so many things I did that summer. I was basically just convincing myself that I was great. And at this point, like, I didn't even write poetry. I thought I was convincing myself to be great at basketball. But like that mindset that I put myself in helped me for that. When I wrote that first poem, I looked at it and I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm the greatest at this, and that's it. And that's what I've carried myself, if that makes sense.
How old were you when you went through that?
So when I started writing poetry at 22.
Okay.
But the summer that I started reading all the books and doing the hypnosis I was 21.
Okay. That's dope. I tell people all the time, sometimes, actually no, this is what, back up. Yesterday, I was watching this Gary Vee video.
Man, it was dope.
Love Gary Vee. We just saw him at ABC. But yeah, I was watching this Gary Vee video, and he was talking about how, while you're in your 20s, you have to take the time to try new things and fail.
Yeah.
Because we're all have too much concern about getting started and getting instant gratification.
Exactly.
Thinking that we know what our life's purpose is. It took me, I said this year I was going through a very rough transitional year, and everything was taken away from me. I lost everything. And I had nothing but the stillness of peace and quiet. So I could hear God and, focus on my inner work. And, out there you were talking about the art of not giving a fuck, basically.
The art of not giving a fuck.
That was something that I really had to struggle with. I learned that I was putting too much energy into, I guess, trying to manipulate how people felt about me. And it was taken away from the essence of myself. So I thoroughly believe in, sitting in peace and quiet and figuring out what it is that you need to do, but that begins with your inner work. You heal your traumas, you heal from the things that you've gone through. It'll come out, but I don't think people pay enough attention to that. So that's pretty cool. And I love how you tell your friends or your fans.
I like friends. I work better.
Your friends.
Yeah, my friends, they're real. Like I said, you saw when I was like, yo, how many people in the crowd have I talked to? I hella motherfuckers put their hands up. Like, there's like so many motherfuckers like in the crowd I've DM'd with, you know what I mean? Like, nigga, just before I got on stage, it was like, yo, I just bought like $55 worth of merch.
Almost everybody out there had your merch on. I was like, yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not about the size of the crowd. It's about the heart of the crowd, you know what I mean? It's like, I be trying to tell people, man, it's like, there's so many things I want to tell the world, but the world's not ready to hear them because I'm not big enough yet. So I can say them right now, and people gonna be like, they're really not gonna listen until it's like, you know. So I've been saying the same shit for years, but it's like, as you grow bigger, people listen more. That's why I wish people with these big ass platforms would say some of the shit I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because it's like, bro, you can really like, you know how many of these kids need to just hear like, yo, fuck the word clout, fuck the word clout chasing, fuck the word this, like that shit doesn't mean nothing, bro. Like,
I hate that word. It's like, how else are you gonna make a name for yourself? You need clout.
That's what I'm saying.
You create
like,
your own clout.
There's so many words that like these big people just need to just like denounce.
Yeah, awkward. You talk about awkward.
All these shit, man. That shit's like, and people at this point in my career, people like clown me for shit I say, you know what I mean? But it's like they're not gonna realize it until like 5-10 years later when they're like 40 and those words don't mean anything. Because they have kids, they have to convince that those words don't mean anything. Until then, that shit don't matter. But it is what it is, you know?
So is that why you wrote Dear God? Because that's kind of the theme of that song. You're questioning God, like, why are things the way that they are when, you just don't get why things are the way that they are when they don't have to be.
The point of Dear God is to show I hate the word average, but it's the average story of a believer. Someone who believes in God. You go from being a kid where everything you're doing is influenced by your parents, the way you talk, you get it from your parents, your accent, everything. And then all of a sudden you get to an age where you're able to question things yourself, and you go through that period of like, oh, wait, what?
It's like what you said.
But exactly. And that's like what I went through, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, went to church and I was like, oh wait, shit, what about this, what about that? But I went through all that and I was still a believer after it. So Dear God is just like the basic path of a believer, you know? That's why I say, multiple times I still believe myself.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's okay that I have these questions.
I feel like God wants you to, like I've explained this before, I feel like God wants us to doubt God, because what are you going to have to compare when he just shows up for you?
Exactly, right?
So
it's the equivalent to dating a virgin. It's like you date a virgin like you're the only one she met with. You're like the whole time you guy or girl. The whole time you're like, well shit, I'm the only one she's like done it with. So like I super dope, but like wait, she doesn't know or he doesn't know anything else. So at what point? It's almost like you gotta let someone go to bring them back. That's what I feel like. It's like with God. It's like God knows that at one point in our life we're gonna have questions and that we're gonna stray away. But now it's like, do they come back? And if they make it back, it's like if you're able to have these questions and still believe, now you're on cloud nine. That's me. You know what I mean? Like there's questions I've had, but I'm like, you know what? I have all these fucking questions, but I still believe.
Right. I'm not supposed to know everything. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool not knowing everything.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Alright. Was there anything you wanted to mention that we can
anything I
That's
want to
all I
mention?
wanted to talk about, some existentialism type shit.
What does that mean, existentialism?
Like, why are we here? What's that thing?
Why are we here?
That
That's my
type
big
of
thing,
stuff.
man. Purpose is like a big. I believe the highest human act is to inspire. A lot of people don't know their purpose, and that's because they think it lies within themselves. I believe like when you stop STOP, when you stop walking your path for yourself and you start trying to walk it for other people, your purpose will be shown. You know what I mean? I played basketball for so long, and I was trying to I scored all types of points, game winners, all this type of shit. But it wasn't until I was like, yo, let me I got a Division I scholarship because I had the most energy. I energized the whole team when I was at junior college. So the coaches in the crowd were like, who the fuck is this nigga? But when I was in Canada, I was always scoring the most points. So I feel like once you start focusing on just motivating others, inspiring others, your whole purpose comes about. And God shows you your purpose. So I was just, the highest human act is inspiring. Inspire others, and God will show you exactly what your tool is to inspire them. If that makes sense.